Hi guys, welcome back to BubblyPetz. For those of you who don't know, I'm Isla. Today we're gonna be talking about Tokay geckos. If you see him right here, he's one of my many pets I have, including a lot of birds, if you guys have seen my videos on those. But if you guys ever known or seen them, they're brightly spotted tropical geckos. They're known to be very feisty though, so if any of you guys are wondering how to bond with them, handle them, or care for them, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So these geckos, they're native to Southeast Asia. Usually you might hear them at night. They're nocturnal, but they make a sound that sounds like Tokay. So that's why they're named after that. The males make that sound, and he is a boy, so I have caught him making that sound. They're known to be aggressive, so usually people don't want to handle them because they are territorial, they're quick to bite, and once they bite, they can latch on, but if they don't, they have really a lot of small razor-like teeth, so you'll just start bleeding. The blood will just keep gushing out of you, basically, if you get bit, so you want to avoid that, but they can make pretty good pets once you handle them enough, like they can mellow out, but if you guys are wondering, they can live 10 to 20 years in captivity. So he just started wandering away, so I'm just trying to keep him here. So I'm just gonna feed him some super worms and hopefully he can get it. So for housing for these guys, they like to climb, like usually you'll find them on the glass of the tanks. So the optimal enclosure will be taller more so than long. You will see though that my enclosure is longer than tall because I just had to repurpose an old enclosure for him. But you want to use like coconut wire, reptile safe soil for the substrate, provide like driftwood, stuff they can climb on in there, vines, decorate it to make it look like a tropical environment because that's where they're from. Just used a glass enclosure. Usually they sell the terrariums with the lids, the mesh lids, or sometimes they have the ones that open up the glass doors. But you just want to make sure that it's a secure lid because they are heavy and they like to jump on the lids and they're smart too. So you just want to watch out. They might escape or something if it's not like held down well. And so the minimum enclosure size would be a 20-gallon. Of course, bigger is better. My enclosure is a 20-gallon though. And since they're tropical, you want to make sure that you are misting them daily or that you set up a automatic mister like I have. You want to provide them with plenty of heat. I just use normal heat domes and the bulbs. You can use under tank heaters, you can use ceramic heat emitters, whatever you do just to keep them to have enough heat. But the temperature range for them is 75 is like the lowest you should have them at. That's like during the nighttime, it would get during that temperature. And then the higher end would be 90, like their basking spot under the light. Ideally, like most enclosure, you want it to be like 80, 85. And then for the humidity, you want it to be around 80%. Also to add on for the heat bulbs, you wanna make sure that like their main source of heat, that they're getting UVA from that. But then you also want to provide them with UVB. Even though they're nocturnal and it's not like well studied how much they'd be exposed to the sun and how much they would get of that, you still wanna provide it just to be sure. That's what helps them synthesize vitamin D and have calcium. Also, if you guys are realizing like I'm digging in this tub over here, it's because I raise my own super worms. Because like I have a lot of reptiles and stuff that will eat them. So it's just like better for me to have a lot more and cheaper just to raise my own. Okay, so you guys also just want to make sure that you're providing a day and night cycle for them, of course. What I do is I have a timer for my lights and then I don't have any light on him during the night since it stays pretty warm in my room. You want to make sure that you're providing them with a water dish. Most of the water they get is from what they eat, but also like they'll lick off the mist off their decorations, like the leaves, the glass and stuff. That's why you want to make sure you're regularly misting them, providing that high humidity. So for what you want to feed them, you want to make sure you have 2 supplements on hand. I'd recommend a calcium plus D3 powder and a multivitamin powder, and then whatever bugs and things you're feeding them, you just want to like dust them in those. You can alternate between the powders. Like mainly I would do the multivitamin and then like 2-3 times a week or how often, just do the calcium one instead of the multivitamin one. But what you can feed them is crickets, cockroaches, dubia roaches, soup worms. Maybe the littler geckos might eat the mealworms. You can give them like mice, like pinkies, or really small hoppers, or fuzzies. They can eat the soupworm beetles. Basically, whatever insect you find, sorry, the worm fell on me. Whatever insect you find, just make sure it's a very lively and squirmy type of insect. They're very attracted to movement. Like if you pick out mealworms that are close to pupating, they barely move and they're not really gonna wanna eat that. So make sure you pick out ones that are wiggling around a lot and then they will go after that. So to add on to the feeding, if you're giving them like pinkies or the mice, since I breed my own mice, I'm able to do that, but just don't give them that often because it's very fatty and very high in calories. He's kind of chubby if you guys notice, so just don't do it too often, like maybe like once a month, give them those. Also, another thing to know is once you get them, like I got him when he was a baby, so if you're getting the younger babies or juveniles, you want to be feeding them more frequently. So like a really young baby, I'd feed like every day, just like a little bit each day. Once they start getting older, you can like drag that out to like once every other day, and then once every maybe 2 days. He's a full-grown adult. I only feed him twice a week, and whenever I feed him, I just give him like a lot of stuff. He is not skinny at all. He's very well fed, so I think that's okay. Now for the part that most of you might have been waiting for, how to tame them. So if any of you guys have noticed his tail right here, it has been regrown. He did lose his tail when he was a baby. I was holding him and then he like freaked out and was running away, and then he ended up dropping his tail. Which is very unfortunate because the tail does not ever grow back the exact same as it was, but it's okay. I still like him. And basically, if you're feeding them and fattening them up, they will get a little more mellow. Also with time, with age, they will be a little bit nicer. But him, since I got him as a baby and he was captive bred, I was always reaching my hand in the tank like to give him his food, put it in the water and stuff. So he was used to me putting my hands around. He was never territorial with his enclosure. Also, he would be on the glass a lot and I would try to clean the glass with like a rag, and he would be like feisty and like trying to like bite me or something, but I would just ignore him and just keep going with the rag. So then he just, I guess he learned not to even bother with that and just like walk away. So now that he's big, he's fattened up, and he's used to my hands, I can actually like move my hands around, get him to be on my hand. I can hold him, I can pet him a little bit, and he will tolerate it. Like he's fine with it now. So for any of you guys wondering the best tips for that, basically it's just having your hands in the tank a lot, trying to hand feed them, trying to handle them as much as you can, and optimally getting a captive bred one. I do not recommend getting the wild caught ones. A lot of the species, especially in the US, you will find that they're selling the wild caught ones, and they'll be cheap. They'll be like $30 or something, but don't get them because you don't know how old they are, you don't know what parasites and whatnot they have and what's wrong with them. So just get a captive bred one, even though it's more expensive. They have gone up in price through the years too, unfortunately, but just get a captive bred one so that you can get it tame and that it'll be healthy. Now we're gonna talk about like health concerns or issues or anything. Basically, if you're making sure you're cleaning their enclosure and you're providing the proper heat, humidity, you're giving them water, you're gut loading their insects or dusting them with the multivitamin, calcium, like you shouldn't really have any problems as long as you had a captive bred one in the first place. If you're not like keeping up with some of those things, like they can get ill, they can get stressed out. These geckos can actually like change color. Right now he's fine because he's content, so he looks bright blue. But if they get stressed, they get unhappy, if they're too cold, they become like a black color with orange spots. So you want to make sure that you're watching for that you're providing the proper setups and food and stuff and not stressing them out a whole lot so that they will be healthy and happy. If you're noticing any problems with like stuck shed, if you see maybe bugs crawling on them, or they're not eating, or they just look a little wrong, a little off, like you guys can schedule like a visit with an exotic vet about that. Or just yeah, do that and make sure that you are going over their care and making sure that everything's all good with them, because they can live a long time. So you just want to be dedicated to that and so that they live a long time with you. Fun fact, since they're nocturnal, they don't have color vision. So like they'll see pretty much like black and white, but it doesn't bother them because they're nocturnal. They seem to live and walk around and stuff and do things fine. So also, if any of you guys noticed, his one eye, like this one right here, looks more bulged out than this this one. He's always been like that since a baby. I don't know what the problem is, but it doesn't look like it's been any problem for him. Doesn't look like it's been affecting him either, so I think it's just like a birth deformity for him. If you guys haven't already, I invite you to join my wonderful community by subscribing. I appreciate all of you guys. Your support brings me so much joy. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye.